Well, today is the last day of May, and trying to get my hair to stand up to in honor of potential disclosure on June 1st, so I can look like Giorgio. I think that's how you say his name. The guy who says, "I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens." So yeah, my hair doesn't stand up very well. I put a lot of water on it, and it's already starting to fall down. So I guess we'll see if anything happens tomorrow, if it's going to happen some other day, or not at all. Um, I've been seeing more and more stories, and people are, I guess, on CBS were talking about it, and not really sure what else. There was who was it, the story I saw where I'll try to find it, where they claim that the beings are from a planet nearby here, but in a different dimension, that there's a hyperdimensional space overlapping our solar system or something like that, and we can't actually get there because we can't perceive it, but they can perceive us, and lots of different theories about how it's all going to turn out. But yeah, most people are just posting theories on Reddit, so it was fun to read through a lot of them today. But yeah, most of them are kind of whacked out or saying, "Oh yeah, well, we don't believe anything's going to happen. It's all a matter of weather balloons." There was some cartoon they had where I'll try to find it, post a link to it, where it said 1940s government, it's all weather balloons. Citizens, we think it's aliens. And then nowadays, government, it's all UFOs and aliens. And the citizens, oh, it's all weather balloons. A lot of people seem to be coming out of the woodwork to say they don't believe it, but the Pentagon's been confirming all these different cases, so we'll find out, I guess. Other than that, yeah, June 1st starts tomorrow. It's hard to believe. Or, well, in a few hours. It's already June 1st some places, from what my calendar says. Yeah, I really didn't have much else to talk about. I had a lot of other topics, but I was trying to stay focused on one thing, and I'm not very good at that, as you can tell from all the past videos. So I was thinking about talking about color space, like RGB, and how that works, and a whole list of stuff. Uh, well, I can give you one quick story about Vegas, although it always turns into a long one when I talk about Vegas. As I was thinking back on my time when I worked in Vegas on slot machines, and we were trying to present them to the casinos to show how they work. And casinos have certain areas where they put test machines, something I hadn't realized. But if you go to some casino, you'll find, like, in the middle of nowhere sometimes, just like a couple machines that are very different than the other ones, and they're testing them. They're like some companies trying to sell them, or they're trying to produce a new game or something like that. And so the one that we had was down some hallway somewhere, just where people were right across from the sports book, where people were betting on sports. And we set up like 6 machines. And so we got to go work on the floor, just in general, to see how the casino works. So back then, in the 90s, when I did all this, they still had coins in machines. And so when there was a coin call, we'd have to go out and fill it up. Or if someone gets paid more than a certain amount, $1,199, I believe, then you have to file a tax form, anything 1,200 or more. So that's why, like, the $10 slot machine kind of sucks, because it's very easy to get $1,200 on a spin, like one that on a $5 or less you wouldn't get a tax event for. It's just more of a hassle. A lot of the casinos now will automatically do it for you. You fill out a paperwork, and then they fill out your taxes for you, and you just have to keep track of all the money you spend, money you lose, money you gain, and then file it on your taxes at the end of the year. But yeah, we were there for a week, and we worked on just the general floor. We saw how the things work behind the scenes, and like in the security office, they have a bunch of pictures of all the people who were banned from the casinos and why. It's like some people would show up with cattle prods and or wires in their sleeves, because back when you had coins, they could jam it up through the coin slot, or they'd put a coin and drop it through with like a piece of string and pull it back out again. And so, like, all the machines had to have countermeasures. So, like, our machines had to have timing mechanisms in it. So it would determine, based on a couple of lights down the pathway and how fast gravity would work, that it was free fall gravity, and that nothing came back up through and hit the lights on the way back up. And just all these, like in the test lab, they had constantly shocking it with 10,000 volts and things like that, just to make sure the machines didn't fry. Because one of the rules for the gaming commission is that once people put their money on the line, it has to come up with the same results no matter what. So once, like I think I've said in previous ones, like once you bet, it's decided whether you've won or lost. Or maybe I didn't say that part yet, but anyway, it knows whether you won or lost. And if someone pulls the power on it or something like that, it still has to show the same results as if it didn't happen. So that's why it determines immediately. So you bet, you hit the spin button, it decides then. And then the rest of it's just a display mechanism, even if it has the old wheels, since even before the 90s, they had like stepper motors. Now they're all graphics stuff, which we got the initial patents for. I used to not be able to do that, but and have hard drives. But so for the, because the same reason, it's just the security issues. But so sometimes you see a story about, oh, so and so won, and because it shows like jackpot, 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 but didn't pay out. And it's like, well, on an old reel machine, sometimes the motor breaks and it just spins freely, and people just sit there and waiting for it to like stop at the thing, and it looks like it won, but it's like, well, no, internally it actually knows what numbers it drew and whether it could display it or not, and they don't pay out on those. They say, well, it's an error. We know what the values are actually, and that's not it. Or people would jam things in to try to spin the wheels or whatever. There's lots of ways that people used to try to cheat the machines. And so we got to see all that kind of stuff. I mean, we got to hear about all those things back then. I guess they must have newer ways now with everybody doing pure video machines, and also with the multi layers. And they have some pretty cool stuff now. With I've played a couple 3D video games even, but they use the lenticular displays. So you sit a certain distance and it creates depth, and then it has like a scene where it's flying through and going to the bonus screens, and people love bonus screens. So that's considered as part of the percentaging, though. So if you're playing a game that has bonus screens and you don't get to the bonus screens, you're losing out on the odds. And so the simpler the game, the better the odds for short-term play. But if you're playing for a while, then over time the odds work out to be what they're calculated to be. As I mentioned before, they try to get like 99 and 98% across the casino. But it was kind of interesting just to see that how the machines work when you put them on test. And back then, I don't know if they fixed a lot of this problem, was random number generators. So there's no such thing. And so people had patents on some of them. We had worked with the University of Las Vegas, or University of Nevada math professor who generated some unique random number system. And it had a flaw in it at one point. So it was found out, I think, during testing, or maybe it was on the floor. But what's interesting is that humans figured it out eventually. It's like if you played the numbers on Keno 1 through 10, you had a slightly higher chance of winning than if you played any other random number. And it was discovered because the casinos constantly check everything. They see what numbers won, they know what the payouts were. I mean, huge amount of statistics and data analysis. And so it was within a week, they knew that people were getting slightly more money, and people figured it out. That was the thing. It's just people naturally figured out 1 through 10. It's like had a slightly better payout. So it's kind of weird to think about that. Out of all the possible numbers that could be pulled, people figure out which one has a better payout, just naturally. And so then the person who was responsible for that random number fixed it and did a software update and fixed all the machines. But there's yeah. So if you find testing machines, they claim the odds will be certain things, but you never really know. And I've seen some really interesting ones. I don't know if any of them made them out. They had some with like giant dice that would roll across this big board. I mean, like real dice. There was a bunch of them that we had that never made it out that were really kind of cool. I thought, like with asteroids, and you blow up an asteroid, or some of the monkey ones and all made it out. They were really nice. But yeah, if you try to find some, there's some are really interesting, a lot of fun. I mean, that's what I like about them. It's like they're very innovative. They're very short games, and right, I mean, you bet, and you want to keep on betting. So they try to make it so you're betting as quickly as possible, but they still want to tell a story or still have something going on to try to entice people for the modern generation of video game players. And so always try to look around the casino when you first get there. I mean, that's one of the first things I do is I walk around and try to find, first of all, where the areas people aren't playing, because those have the best odds. Then I try to find the experimental machines, if there are such things, like games that no one else, that you don't see anywhere else. And yeah, it's like if you see one with like unique things, like give it a try. It might be fun, it may not be, but also the odds may be in your favor, it may not be. You don't know. But other than that, I had one story that was kind of interesting as well. I guess I'm talking about Vegas more than I am about the disclosure stuff, but maybe they'll all be tied together in the end. I doubt it though. Was back back in the 90s, I guess there was still some sort of mob influence, kind of. So some of the people I met may or may not have been mobsters. I don't know. I never checked into their background, so I just have assumptions. But the people who ran the floor were amazing. It's like they knew everybody. It's like every person we walked past. It's like we got to trail around with one of the floor operators, floor managers. And it's like he'd walk past like, Bob, how are the kids? Oh, yeah, how's this? Oh, how's little Susie and Bobby going? And it's like he knew the names of all the people and all the kids and the spouses and all the other stuff. And it was really interesting to see. It's like they were really people, more so than I am. I mean, I try to remember people's names, but I'm bad at it unless I really associate. Most people are bad at names, but I have problems recognizing faces too. But he recognized everybody. It's like every person we walked past, like he greeted them by name, and it was really amazing. And that's when I realized that's how the casino industry runs. That's why in the past they'd say like, well, slip the guy a $20 and they'll get you a better seat, because it ran that way. It ran based on like glide handing, they call it, like whose hand could you shake. That would determine what kind of benefits or things you knew, or what you would get. Oh, what was that? Something outside my window. Probably birds. Birds like being out there. Uh, but yeah, so as we walked around, we got to see how the slot machines work, and got to meet a lot of interesting people. And then we went to some executive meeting afterwards where we tried to pitch the machines to them, and they told us more about how the casinos work and learned about how all the rooms and statistics and all that stuff. And they asked us what we thought about the floor and the people we met. And one of the guys said, "Oh yeah, well you have really attractive waitresses, or slot attendant, like the walking around." And the VP said, "Well, tell me her name, and you'll have a date with her tonight." And I thought, wow, it's still shocking, even after 25 years later. It's like didn't even ask who it was. It was just like, wow, what if she's married or has kids or she's in a relationship or whatever? It was like, nope, didn't matter. We were helping them out business wise. So back then, I don't know if they do that now, but back then it was like, well, whatever. If you see you're helping us out, then we'll set you up with whoever you want. It's like I was just, I don't know if he actually followed up on it or not, but I was kind of taken aback by that. But on the positive side of that, though, was that I was staying over an extra day or two, and I mentioned he'd said about going to see shows, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I wanted to see Cirque du Soleil's Mystère," and he's like, "There'll be front row seats waiting for you." Like that was it. It's like didn't have to do anything, just like you're doing business with them, they have stuff all set up for you. I said, "Just show up at the box office, and we'll seat you right away." And they did. Best seats in the house, right there, front row. Well, it was 4 rows back. The front row would be too low, but he got us right at eye level, the perfect seats, center stage, amazing. One of the best seats I ever had, and yep, just all comped. It's like, I mean, it's their show, their floor, their casino, right? So they can do what they want. So they try to help people they do business with. So it was a great industry. I really liked working in industry. It's the people were very friendly, not judgmental, because it's like, I mean, everybody had their own sin, I guess, gambling or drinking or something. And so everybody was just friendly to each other, realizing, hey, we're all just gamblers here. So, but oh yeah, there's so many different stories about Vegas, and yeah, a lot of people I worked with swingers and other things. I'll talk about all that stuff some other time. A lot of stories about that. But in general though, working in the casino industry, I thought was a lot of fun. I don't know, people maybe who work in Vegas, it's different, and that kind of stuff. But the people I met were very friendly, and if you're trying to sell them a new technology, they were hard to adapt new technology, but eventually they went for it, and all the casinos now have these digital machines, and yeah, just look out to have some kind of fun when you're there. And since Vegas is close to Area 51, that's where the planes used to take off from it. I think I stayed in a room once that overlooked the runway that they would take off from, but it's a plane that all the windows are blocked off. I don't know if they do anything in Area 51 anymore, but I guess maybe when disclosure happens, they'll tell us about all those things. So maybe I should just go to Vegas tomorrow, or no. I'll go again sometime soon, and hopefully maybe I'll meet you there, or something like that. And well, we'll see. Maybe we'll have free UFO flights there by then. Okay. Well, hope you're enjoying yourselves, and take care.